Hello, church family. Thanks for tuning in. We miss you, and we look forward to meeting you soon at the church. Hopefully, this will pass. But until then, I would like to take a few minutes here to encourage you and to bring before you a question. What does Jesus care about? And more specifically, does Jesus care about us during this scary, terrifying times? We're going to explore that. We're going to look at a passage in the Bible and see what Jesus does or doesn't do when he encounters people who are actually terrified for their lives. But before we dive into that, I would like to invite Brady here. Come over here, Brady. And I'm going to ask him a question. Brady, what is one thing that you're afraid of? Tell us about a time when you were afraid.
So, it was the day before yesterday. This happens not very often, but it sometimes happens. But I was afraid I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I was scared of a scary clown. A scary clown, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brady. I appreciate that, buddy. And I would like to encourage you to pause the video now and talk to your family about a time when you felt afraid. Awesome. I bet you shared a lot of cool stories. I would like to read for you now a passage from the Bible. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in a boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going down?" When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly the wind stopped and there was great calm. Then he asked them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples were absolutely terrified. "Who is this man?" they asked each other. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." Well, we all experience fear. We all, like you already shared with your family, a story when you were afraid. We experience fear. But the issue is that most of us try to handle this fear on our own. Look at the disciples here. They are in a boat. They're experienced fishermen. They know how to deal with the boat and the water, and probably they've been through other storms. But this one is somehow different, and they tried to handle it on their own. I wonder why it took them so long to wake Jesus up. But we shouldn't be too harsh on them, because we that do the same thing often. We try so hard on our own, and finally, when we're exhausted, when we feel like there's no other way, that we exhausted all our options, we come to Jesus. I want to look a little bit at what does Jesus do or doesn't do when he and his disciples come face to face with the situation. First, look at the disciples. They're scared. They're terrified. They're desperate. Jesus, on the other side, he is sleeping. And I know some people may look at this as Jesus doesn't care. He's asleep. He doesn't care about what we're going through. But that is not true. In fact, Jesus cares deeply about each and every one of us. He cares deeply about our situation, what we're going through. He cares deeply about this pandemic that's going on, because Jesus cares about people. Look at Jesus. He's there. He's present. He's in a boat. He's experiencing the same storm as they are. But it's almost like he's waiting for them to invite him to help them. And eventually they do go to Jesus and says, "Don't you care?" Of course Jesus cares. What does Jesus care about? Jesus cares about people. And one of the things that I love about Jesus in this encounter is that he does not scold his disciples. In fact, when they say, "Don't you care?" he gets up, and what does he do? He talks to the waves, to the wind, says, "Hush, be still. Peace, be still." And instantly that happens. This is something shocking that Jesus does. They didn't see it coming. And now a different kind of fear comes over the disciples. It is this holy fear, this awe. Who is this man? Jesus is asking his disciples a very interesting question. Why are you afraid? It's one of those why questions, because Jesus wants to drill deep into their heart to see what is the root of that fear. Pastor and author Mark Galli tells a story about a group of people, refugees from Laos, attended his church in California, and they wanted to become members of his church. And of course he was okay with that, but he wanted to take them through a Bible study because they didn't know much about the Christian faith. So Mark decided to study the Gospel of Mark with them, and they came to this passage in Mark 4 where Jesus calms the storm. And after reading the passage, Mark Galli said, I did what I normally do. I told them Jesus can calm the storms in your life. And what are some of the storms that you're going through? He said that the room was silent. And all of a sudden, one of the men put their hand up and asked, are you saying that Jesus calm the storm with some words? Well, yeah, he said, but don't get hung up on a miracle. Because Jesus calmed the storm, he is also able to calm the storms in your life. And again, great silence fell over the room. And again, somebody put their hand up and said, are you saying, do you really mean that this Jesus was able to calm a powerful storm? He said, yes, but don't get hung up on that. He can calm the storms in your life. And then all of a sudden, everybody in the room put their hand up. He said, Mark said, for the first time, I understood the miracle. These people were in awe of this powerful Jesus. My friends, I want to remind you of a beautiful, powerful truth. Our Jesus is in control. Our Jesus holds us in the palms of his hand. Our Jesus cares deeply about us. Allow your heart to be in awe of who he is. Allow yourself to rejoice in who he is. And may the peace of Christ guard your minds and your hearts from now until the day you see him face to face. Thank you so much for your participation. Let's close this time in prayer. Jesus, your words are powerful. The physical world was created by your words, and it obeys your words. You know me deeply. Please give me a word that can calm my heart right now. Take a moment to listen to Jesus. And I want to encourage you to be childlike in this moment. And if Jesus gives you a word that calms your heart, I want to encourage you to share with your family. God bless you. And again, we look forward to seeing you in church soon.